Later. All right, babe, pour one for yourself because today's episode is a little different. You'll have lots of episodes. Well, you'll just be me, some solo episodes, but today I'm laying it all out. It's my story. It's all mine. It's no one else's. Before I was sitting here with a mic, an absolutely delicious martini, a multi-six-figure business, and a life that I love, I started somewhere else. Cheers. I am drinking an extra dirty, filthy martini. This is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorite when you're out and you're getting drinks is a martini. The thing that I absolutely hate about it are the glasses, because whoever said it needed to be in that glass never had two martinis or maybe even one and tried to walk with it. So here's to hoping I don't spill this all over me. Also, thanks to the best cocktail husband for making my dirty martini. I also call it dirty, filthy martini because, gosh, it's just fun to say. I'm a vodka martini girl. If you're a gin martini, I don't even like the vermouth in there because if I'm being real, I would just straight up drink the olive juice. Comment in the comments what you're drinking today, but we're here with a dirty, filthy martini. Because before I had all this life, I was just a small town girl trying to figure out who I was supposed to be. And I'm going to start with my story. Hopefully I don't cry. Probably gonna mess it up, but we're in this together. So here we go. I grew up one of those small towns where everybody knows your business likely before you even do. I grew up about an hour and a half outside of Buffalo, go Bills, in a small little farming town. Very small. Whether it was the pressure that was placed upon me or I just felt like I needed to be, I was that girl that kept a nice, neat, polished box of herself. I was that nice digestible box of a girl next door. It kept the rumor mill away. It kept the gossip train not at my doorstep. And so I just stayed within that safe boundary of not getting too wild and crazy, but I didn't feel like it was me. That's probably one of the first times I felt like I was a little bit suffocated just because I was like, I knew this wasn't me. That version of me was not fully me. And that's okay. I was a kid. I was there until I graduated high school. And then I moved on to college. My mom, bless her, dreamed of me doing the typical get married after high school, after college, have babies, get the secure job, do that. This I know for sure. My 20s were not easy on my mom because I decided to start breaking rules. I decided to be someone completely different than who I had been growing up. It wasn't at her doorstep or my parents' doorstep, but it was happening. And deep down, I always felt like there was something more. And so I went off and moved to the city, Buffalo. I absolutely love Buffalo. Buffalo has a very big part of my heart. There's a piece of it that's left there. I love my journey there. I stumbled a lot. I did a lot. So I moved to the city, spent between college and after college about 12 years in the Buffalo area, going to Bills games. Oh, just the best. Drinking way too much and working a corporate job that was sucking my soul out. But it was a good, secure job. I was making good money. I had good friends around me. And I just had this one day. I remember I woke up and I was like, I'm going to be really pissed if I stay here. And I just knew in that moment that I felt stuck, and I felt very stuck, and I felt almost claustrophobic. I was like, if I don't get out of here and experience something outside of Western New York, if I don't experience something outside of here and I don't discover the world, I'm going to be really angry that I'm not doing it. So that was at about 24, 25. I just needed to get out. And I didn't go very far, but I was at least out. I moved to Baltimore. I lived in a shitty part of the neighborhood I never belonged in. I walked to work because I couldn't afford to pay for the garage, which I don't know how I survived that. I was there during the riots, and Lord have mercy. My mom definitely was scared for a reason. Well-placed fear, darling. But the biggest thing that came out of Baltimore, and it will always also have a piece of my heart, is I dated myself. And there's going to be a whole separate podcast on dating myself because it changed my life. Everything that I have now is because of that phase of my life. I love it. I love talking about it. I love encouraging others to do it. But it was huge. And I met also while I was there, I met some of my greatest friends, friends that I still have to this day. It was like that time when you watch the series Friends, that was Baltimore for me. the end of Buffalo, but definitely Baltimore for me, where your friends are your family. And I was only there for like a year and a half, but me moving to Baltimore was a proof to myself that I could go anywhere and I could do anything and I could do it because I knew nobody there. I had a couple people from colleges that were acquaintances. So I got closer with them, which was great, but I really didn't know anybody. I didn't really feel like I had good friends there or anything until I moved there, got my life going, and then it was just this wonderful period of time for about a year and a half that I absolutely loved it. I came into my own, got a lot of confidence in who I am and what I wanted to do. But then that got blown to smithereens. But here's the thing I want to tell you, is that if you're sitting somewhere and you're saying to yourself, I feel stuck, I feel like I need to know that there's a world out there, whether that's in your 20s, your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, or 80s, I do not give a shit. Go get yourself unstuck. Go find your big city moment, whether that's big city, small town, whatever it is, gets you outside of your box. Go do it, because from this girl to you, I will tell you, it could be one of the best things that you ever did. Okay, so cheers to being unstuck, because Lord, we don't want to stay there. That is strong, y'all. So what came next? I have to kind of give a snippet of my love life in here because that is the reason what happened next happened how it happened. Again, my mother was not thrilled. You'll hear this throughout. My mother's not thrilled because I did break out of a norm. My mother was very loving, very supportive. I just was rocking the boat a lot in my 20s and early 30s. So I met my husband about 2 months before I left Buffalo in a club. Another funny story. But I met him. I moved to Baltimore. Guy just kept showing up. About 6 months into that, I finally told my family, oh, hey, I am dating somebody. And the big leap that we took, I had known him for maybe a year and a half. And he had the opportunity to be stationed in Hawaii. And I was like, well, over margaritas, I was like, I don't want you to stay in the military unless you get somewhere cool like Hawaii. I get a call the next day. He says, I got it. And I said, you got what? And he said, I got Hawaii. And I said, what are you talking about? So another life lesson is don't make all your big life decisions over margaritas. But if you do, they might turn out pretty fucking awesome. We moved to Hawaii after spending only 10 consecutive days together at a time. And we moved to Hawaii, we got married, and it's worked out. Okay, that's how I ended up in Hawaii. And this evolution of who I am, it is very much so a part of the story. My love life is most definitely a part of the story, but that's for a different podcast about falling in love and trusting the journey that you're going to go on. But I met and married my husband real quick. Again, my mother was thrilled. We got engaged and dropped that bombshell on her in one weekend. So anyways, fast forward, I am in Hawaii. I'm in paradise. I'm living there. I'm married, I'm in love, and realized very quickly that I was completely unemployable. It was not known to me that turns out corporate America doesn't exactly support the whole, my husband's in the military, we move every few years. In fact, they will undersell you, they undervalue military spouses. I applied, I interviewed, I got ghosted, I got undercut and undervalued. I would get job offers and then they would learn I was a military spouse and then they would drop it by $20,000 to $30,000. It was incredibly infuriating. It was a year and a half that I just felt like the biggest failure because every day someone in some way was telling me that I didn't get the job. I was being rejected nearly like every freaking week. And I was like, my God, this is insane. I had a corporate background. I have a marketing degree. I'm very reliable. Like I did not get it. And no other time in my life have I been unemployable until I became a military spouse. But in the meantime, I was working a jewelry job. I had started when I was in college as like a side gig, loved it. Until one day I learned that the men that were working with me, the same job, who had zero experience, were getting paid more money than me after I had 8+ years of experience. That day, I walked in, handed my keys to my district manager in the busiest season, which was 9 years ago, almost to the day, and said, I'm not doing this. You're paying men more than me, and that's not right. And she slurred a bunch of things at me, told me I'd never be hired. It was a whole big thing. I walked out. I walked out in the busiest season of a brand new store, and I just said that I'm not doing that. I stuck up for myself because there's no reason for that to have happened. So cheers to knowing your worth, knowing your value, and knowing when to stick up for yourself. Because nobody else is going to fucking do it for us, are they? Nope, we're going to do it. So, quit my job. And that day, I just said, fuck it. I was 29. And when I pictured my life at 29, I pictured it with a lot more things than what I had going on. But I changed my entire career path and I bet on myself. I was so tired of waiting for someone to hire me. And I was tired that I found out that I was working my ass off for a company that valued men over women. So let's get into what that bet was. So if you don't know me, which most of you don't, I'm not some big influencer. I'm not some big well-known person. And that's part of the reason why I started this podcast. I wanted regular women to have a place to be with more regular women. We weren't celebrities, that weren't big influencers. We're just regular women trying to put our life together in a way that's meaningful and feels good and makes us happy. What I did is I left that day, and I remember distinctively going back to my house. In a Facebook group, I advertised doing a photography session for $50. And I want to say it was a 1-hour session for $50, and someone booked it. I lost my shit. I was so excited. I don't even think I had these people sign contracts. I don't even know that. I think I had them pay me via PayPal or something. Like, it did not matter. This was the start of it for me. I didn't know it was going to be it. I just knew that I was excited that someone had finally said yes to me and valued me. Granted, at $50, I wasn't valuing myself, but I didn't know any better. We're getting there. I did the session. It was on the beach. I remember it was a family session, but also there's a proposal in there too. I just remember my husband coming to pick me up afterwards, and I got all my stuff in the car because I'm pretty sure I had props. And I just remember feeling like fireworks were going off in my head everywhere. Like, I just felt like something was ignited inside me. There was just this like feeling of fuck yes. Like, I just fucking did that. And I know what I did was really good. And I was so proud of it. I was on cloud nine. I don't think I stopped talking. My poor husband probably went out for beers afterwards, and I just yapped the whole goddamn time. I was so excited. I did not let him be around me as I did it. I told him he had to go away and come back. That day, it changed for me. I had no business plan. I had no safety net, just a camera from an ex-boyfriend and a dream and a whole lot of fuck yeah. Like, that fuck yeah from that first session is what got me through probably the first few years of owning a business, because it was that fuck yeah I knew in my soul and in my bones. And every choice that I've made in my business, there has been that moment of fuck yeah. And it has guided me a lot. And I'm sure some people might call it a gut feeling, whatever it is. But what I want to tell you is that if you feel that fuck yeah, ride it, babe. So here's to fuck yes. While I had a bunch of fuck yeahs, there was also the hard part about the things that people said. The military spouse circles, let's just say they weren't exactly cheering me on. They'd whisper, they rolled eyes, they made fun of me for being a photographer. They told me I'd be broke forever. I specifically remember someone saying to me when Alex decided to go out of the military and my photography business was doing pretty well, I'd already booked back on the mainland. Everything was going really well. I remember her looking at me and saying, what, do you just want to be broke forever? Because you're not going to make any money as a photographer. Nobody makes money at that. And I was like, interesting. I've already locked in my year. Anyways, but I didn't care. I cared, but I just kept moving. It was a very difficult thing for me to get through. It felt like molasses. We'll get to that. But I didn't care that someone else thought I was going to fail. And I didn't care enough to stop. Because deep down, I knew that I was building something bigger. I knew this didn't feel like just a hobby. It didn't feel like just something I did for a short period of time. Like, I felt this shit in my bones. To this day, I still feel it in my bones. Not just a business, but I felt like it was the gateway to give me the life that actually felt like mine. It felt like something I could hang on to. I didn't have to wait for somebody else to say, oh yeah, here's a job. Oh yeah, here's a promotion. Oh yeah, you've done really great. Well, here's more work. That's what I got in my corporate jobs. Was I would do great. I would work really hard. I'd stress out. I'd get everything going. And then it would be like, oh, here's a jeans day sticker. You get to dress down for a day. Or you did really great on that project. We're not going to pay you anymore, but here's a fuck ton more work. That's what I felt. I felt like finally, for the first time, I had control over the life that I was going to live, that I was going to build. Every day when I woke up, it was on me to build it. It was on me to be successful. It was on me to be consistent. And I didn't have to depend on somebody else paying me less than what I was deserved to be making. Granted, when you start a business, you ain't making shit at the beginning. It is a lot of hard work. You're working a lot of hours. I am many years in at this point, and I still work a lot of hours. But at the end of the day, I know I'm working for me. It is a great feeling. But some people aren't cut out for it, and that's perfectly fine. This is my journey. This is what I went on. What I would love to say, it worked. And I am happy to say I am happy. I am not broke. I am fulfilled. And just fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. So again, fuck yeah. God, when I think about that, all I want to do is I want to take this and I just want to turn it up to that negativity that was there. Because you do feel it when you're trying something new, when everybody is really negative or you're already nervous, but other people's insecurities being placed on you in a negative form, just take it to a next level. It's difficult, but all right, we got to take a pause and do our first segment, which is sip or spill. You know the rules, but if you're new here, let's get into it. If you don't want to spill, you sip. And I brought a drink, so let's see how this goes. I'm pretty good at spilling instead of sipping. I sip as I spill, but we'll get there. Question 1. What's one thing I absolutely pretended to know how to do when I first started my photography business? I'm laughing because this is embarrassing as hell to admit. We're just gonna laugh through it, right? I pretended to know how to use a camera. I had no idea how to use that camera. I did sessions, and a lot of them, for the first year, maybe even year and a half, on a crop sensor camera, which, if you don't know cameras, it's like the starter cameras hobbyists that use, like, you know, if you're not doing anything professional, you're doing a crop sensor camera. It's like a starter camera. I had a Nikon 3200 and I didn't know how to use that puppy. I didn't know how to work manual mode. I didn't even know what aperture was. I didn't know what ISO was. I knew not a goddamn thing, but I went out there and sold it. I went out there and did it. And then I would say about a year and a half in, I upgraded to a full frame camera, which is a professional camera, only because I started shooting weddings, and my mentor, who gave me the chance at photographing weddings, Jean, I love you. You're the best. I can't love you more. Scared the shit out of me. And number 2, she called me out on everything. And I remember having to even shoot auto ISO because I could only manage to adjust my shutter speed. And my aperture pretty much stayed the same, but I could only, it was a rough go. I did not know how to use a damn camera, and I was a photographer, but here I am. And now I can change my settings on the fly. I recently did a wedding where they drove off in a getaway car in front of me and I was behind them, and I'm driving, pick up my camera, adjust the settings, and take a picture through the windshield. Like, I got my shit now, but like back then I didn't even know what aperture was, probably. So even if you don't know what the hell you're doing, YouTube, mentors, research, reading your manual for your actual camera, it's gonna do you wonders. Anyways, let's go on to question 2. What's one thing you wish you could go back and tell your 29-year-old you? It would probably have to be to not focus on everybody else's insecurities being placed upon you. It was very difficult for me to not hear what they were saying and not see the eye rolls and feel the impact of that. I was very much so in my feels for that. I had never met a group of individuals who were so negative and downplaying and just would tear some people apart just for, I felt like, the fun of it. It took me a long time to realize that it was their insecurities, that they were not living the life that they wanted to live, so they were projecting that onto me. It wasn't until I read a book, which I highly, highly recommend to anybody who is big in their fields and big into like, you take what other people say too seriously or you take it into yourself too much. It's called Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It's a great book. It allowed me to learn that other people put their fucks in other places, but doesn't mean that other people won't put their fucks onto you because they're scared and they're insecure. And if you're ever going to do anything non-traditional, against the grain, different, or you're going to do like a big titty move, someone is always going to say, oh, I could never do that. But they're never going to say it like that. They're going to say it in like backhanded comments and rude shit and negative comments. And it's hard and it sucks because you are already here scared shitless for what you're doing. You're scared shitless, but you're doing it anyways. And having that placed upon you, I would tell myself, I would tell anybody else that's doing it, like, you cannot listen to other people except for the people that support you. Unless you're doing something reckless, like smoking crack. You can't be doing that. But if you're doing something in your life that you're building and it's different and it feels right in your bones, like, there is going to be people that have negativity and like, you can let them say things, but it also is very powerful. The words you have around you in your head and what you say make a difference in your outcome and just about everything. So be careful about whose words you allow yourself to absorb. Okay, we'll get off that soapbox. Question 3. What's the most what the fuck am I doing moment from my Hawaii era? All right, this is one of my favorite stories to tell. Y'all, I gotta take a drink before I'm telling this because I can't believe that I'm saying this. It's embarrassing. But I know one of y'all have been in this position at some point in your life. So we need a little liquid courage to talk about it. Because what I'll say, there was also liquid courage in the story. So, what the fuck am I doing? I remember getting to Hawaii. I was so fucking excited. I was like, oh, cool. I'll be unemployed. I'll be fun. Wasn't a fun unemployed person. So I remember one day in particular, I went around, I tried to like register my car. I tried to apply for a job. I tried to do like some basic things, but some bigger things, right? And I just remember saying to my mom in the car when I was on the phone, I was like, Mom, I feel like everything I've done today, I have just gotten kicked in the vagina at every turn. Like, today has been so rough, it sucked. So what I did was, we happened to, on the way home to our house, there was a little market. So I stopped into the market. I grabbed like a 12 pack of Bud Light Limes. The reason I know that is because I can't drink Bud Light Limes anymore. So they were Bud Light Limes. I grab it and I'll have a couple drinks. I'll make dinner. My husband will come home. I'll be fine. I get home. I'm sitting on our patio in our beautiful backyard that was like Hawaiian dreams. I'm sitting there and I go to take my first sip. First fucking sip. And I spilled that shit all down the front of me. When I say it wasn't a drip, I was ready to take a huge chug, okay? All down the front of me. I just sat there. I go, what the fuck? And I sat my beer down. I walked into my bedroom. I changed it into a swimsuit and I came back out, picked up that beer, kept drinking. And by the time Alex came home, he came home to me on the couch. The entire house is dark. He came home after a very long day of doing what he was doing. It was not an easy day for him. He comes home. I am just like on the couch like this. Coffee tables full of beers because I had to move from the outside to the inside. It got cold, a little bit chilly, or Hawaii chilly outside. So I move in. I'm like this on the couch. There's beer cans all over the coffee table. I'm there. I am drunk. And I just start crying. And I just said to him, I've been kicked in the vagina so many times today. Y'all, he didn't know anything that happened that day. He just looked at me. He was so sweet. He just laughed with me. He was like, what do you mean? So I told him about my day, but to this day, it's one of the funnier stories. I had a real big pit and I was drunk in my bikini in our living room. And that's just what it's like being married to me, I guess. Let's get into the business. Let's get into what has given me the life that I live right now, because this podcast is all about learning about life. Fast forward to now. I am 37. I run a multi-six-figure photography business with a team of incredible women. I can't focus on this very long because I will cry, but they're fucking unicorns. Women who also get to do what they love in photography and working in the business on their own terms. And we get to do it together as a community, as a collaborative effort. God, it's beautiful. Okay, I got to keep going. I will cry my eyes out. Created a business that not only captures forever memories, but it also empowers those in front of our camera. It is not just an exchange. It is not just like, hey, we're here for your money, take it and leave it. We are teaching women about BTE, that big titty energy. We are also hyping all walks of life. We love humans and all the forms they come in, and we support them, we accept them, and we celebrate the shit out of them. And this next thing is what I'm most proud of this year, is we show up in our community, and not just in a capacity to make money, but to make a difference. And that has been huge for me. That's been a huge difference this year for me, is showing up in a way that impacts other people, that leaves an impression on others. And not just in the sense like money, money, money. It is, we're really showing up. We're really doing things that are impacting other people and how they feel. So guess what? I'm not broke. I run a successful business. And it's one that not only I feel is good. And is it perfect? No. But is it good? Yes. Is it impactful? Yes. Is it filled with fuck yeah? Yes. There's also pits in there. So you know what? Suck on that. I ain't broke. How do I know this? Because of the life we've built. When I say we, I mean my husband and I. Like I said, I'm 37, no kids. And you know what? That's okay. If they happen, they happen. If they don't, they don't. And it doesn't make me any more or any less of a woman or a person or any more meaning or less meaning to my life. And if you got them, cool. If you don't, cool. You're welcome here. I'm a cat dog mom, and I'm married to a man who is my absolute biggest fan. He not only makes amazing beverages for every one of these, he's incredibly supportive. And he's now a proud stay-at-home dog dad, which is fantastic. My dogs have the best fucking life. We travel the world together. We work remotely. We live life completely on our own terms. It is not traditional. It's not what I was raised to expect out of life, but it is truly what I've dreamed. I have manifested what has happened to my life and where I've got to, even down to my 2 dogs. I didn't expect it, but it's what I had hoped. And it's here, and it's different, and it's wonderful. And it's ours. And it's absolutely everything. I had a moment earlier this year where I went back to my small hometown. When I say small, y'all, I graduated with 42 individuals, of which I went through pretty much kindergarten all the way through 12th grade with. Small. Love that little small town. Has its own quirk, has its own place in my heart. But I went back to my small town, and I remember talking to one of my brother's friends, and he came up and he gave me this big hug. He's, how you doing? And I was like, I just had a moment where I looked around and I was like, absolutely fucking great. I am great. And I remember saying to my mom, I was like, Mom, I said that, and everything inside of me believes it, knows it, doesn't just believe it. Everything inside of me knows it. And I reached this point in my life where my life's not perfect, and every day is not perfect, and there are shit days and there's hard days. But when I step back and look at the bigger picture of my life, where it's at and where it's headed, I'm happy. I really am genuinely happy I get to do what I love to do with amazing people. I could go on and on about how amazing our couples are. The people that we work with are fantastic. The people we work with when it comes to vendors at weddings, other businesses, it's fantastic. My work life's great. My personal life, it feels good with my husband and my puppers and my little angel kitty. It's not perfect, and I'm glad it's not, and I don't want it to be, but it truly, in the grand scheme of things, I am happy. And that's, I feel like, is the number one thing you can try to achieve, is just building a life that not only, it feels good, and maybe you can't always explain it, but it feels good. Last segment I want to do, this has become one of my favorites, truly. Calling bullshit is where we take one belief that society pushes on women or humans and we torch it with love. Maybe not so much love, but it's in there. Here we go. My bullshit that I'm calling today is that betting on yourself is the biggest risk, or it's too big of a risk. What I will say is that I have never let me down to the point that I have completely fallen on my face and not been able to get back up. I've fallen on my face all the time. I do that on a regular fucking basis. Physically, because I'm clumsy. Also figuratively in my business, I try a lot, I do a lot, and in life, I fail a lot. I fall on my face, but I get back up. And I think betting on yourself is something, it could be your career. It may not be. It may just be a change that you want to make in your life. It may be a change that you want to make yourself healthy. I don't know what that is for you, and it's different for every person. But I want to be here to tell you that betting on yourself is the best risk you can take. And I'm not saying go out and start a business with like willy-nilly. I'm saying in whatever it is in your life that you think will move you towards happiness and it requires you to do it, betting on yourself, I don't want to say it's safe because it's not. There's a lot of validity with it. But think about yourself. Have you ever let yourself get to the point where you fall so hard that you can't get back up? Because I haven't. So betting on yourself and depending on yourself to be the person that shows up for you, whether it's in the morning in the mirror, whether it's in a job, whether it is whatever you're moving towards in your life, bet on yourself. Bet on yourself, even when other people want to project that negativity and insecurity they have in their own self onto you. Because what I can tell you is that you really care about yourself. Even though there's times when I'm sure maybe you look in the mirror and you talk down and you have negative talk about yourself. First off, change that shit because no one else is going to pick you up. You have to pick yourself up. I have an insanely supportive partner, but I still have to pick me up. No one's going to change my life and change the outcome and get me what I want, but me. I have to make the changes. I have to do the things. And the number one thing that I know is that when I look back at myself and say, what do you want? And I list it out for myself. And then I tell myself, how are we going to go get it? And then I lay out a plan of how I'm going to go get it because I can bet on myself. And I think too many people are scared because they've been used to just the consistent, when it comes to a work perspective is what I'll speak to, is it's become really comfortable in having the consistency. That's what I'll say about that. So bet on yourself. You're a better risk and there's more in your favor than what you think for. Okay. Here is to betting on you. All right. And if there's something I've learned, it's this. And I wrote this down because I was like, shit, I got to remember this. You can't build a life that's truly yours while living for everyone else's approval. If I would have listened to my mom, love you, Mom. If I had listened to my mom and not left my small town, I don't think I'd be as happy as I am today. If I had listened to my friends around me when I was in Buffalo that were like, no, this is fun, this is great, and it was, I don't think I would be here and be as happy as I am. If I had been in Hawaii and had those military spouses and I listened to them tell me that I wouldn't be anything, I wouldn't be here, be successful and happy if I had listened to them. If you are living your life for someone else's approval besides your own, and I always say this, the approvals that matter are mine and my partner's. And he thinks I'm pretty fucking great. So that works out nicely. But if you're living for approval for those people who are not living your life and are not the person that you're going to sit with or sit next to at the end of your days and reflect whether or not you're happy or whether or not you regret things, then why is their approval so big to you? And until you get past that, you won't live the life that you really want to. That's my genuine feeling. If you are like, Kat, that doesn't make no fucking sense, that's fine too. But that's what I truly feel, because I wouldn't have the life that I am today if I listened to everybody else and sought their approval and did the things that they approved of, and only the things they approved of. Sometimes you have to leave your hometown, your comfort zone, and your old story and your old you behind to become who you're meant to be. And so with that, we know that we have to toast ourselves. Here's a toast, not only to you, not only to me, but to us. Here's to the girls who pack up and start over and watch the comfort in their rearview mirror, who say fuck it and bet on themselves, who are brave enough to build a life that doesn't look normal or textbook, but feels right. The ones who do so unapologetically. So cheers to us. Thanks for sipping with me on Cocktails with Kat. If you loved today's episode, please subscribe, write a review, leave a comment, and send it to the women in your life that you just want them to know that they're doing great and they're exactly where they're supposed to be. For more behind the scenes, real talk, and obviously a dish of chaos, please follow me on socials, Kat DeLine on Instagram and Cocktails with Kat on TikTok, and subscribe here on YouTube. This martini is hurting. Till next time, keep choosing yourself, keep showing up, and keep building a life that feels like yours. Cheers to you. Yo, martini be popping. All right, about to eat these fucking olives? Yeah, we are. All right. What is the best part of the whole martini? Right here. Except I need a longer toothpick. There we go. If you see me out, do not, and I repeat, do not be judging me for eating the olives out of my martini. First off, they've been sitting in your martini long enough that if you pick them up and eat, you'd be like, oh my God, they ran a bar. Yo, you've already been drinking said martini. They all up in your system. Martini, teeny time. Martini, teeny time. Yeah, that's good. But seriously, why can't we get this in like I think I want a martini in like a regular glass. It'd be great.